Before the coronavirus hit, I would say my daily routine was a little bit more irregular because life was always either running to a rehearsal, going to interact with people, less than 6 feet apart. And now I'm home, all day, probably for the next several months, who knows. I just wish that I got a haircut and tuned the pianos before this all started. That's sort of my biggest regret, is the lack of haircut and the fact that we didn't learn as pianists how to tune our own instruments. It's ridiculous. It would have really come in handy right now, with the whole social distancing thing. My daily routine always involves making my pour-over coffee when I'm not on the road traveling. I often talk about how I spent the afternoon washing my kale with soap, which becomes the event for the day. Wiping down groceries is the event for the day. Doing laundry is the event for the day. Cooking. Oh my God, we didn't talk about cooking. I'm cooking up a storm. I'm cooking 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's a full-time job. Unloading the dishwasher. Yeah, I can't believe this is what I'm talking about in the CMS interview. Unloading my dishwasher. It's what the pandemic has brought us to. Now that I'm getting into it, it's been really a creative time to really learn pieces that actually requires this kind of amount of time to learn. I've always wanted to learn the Hammerklavier. It's the hardest piece ever. It's also in some ways just the greatest piece ever. It's so incredible. And it's a puzzle and a challenge to figure out, and I feel I could practice it for 40 years and it wouldn't be good. So that's been thrilling as sort of this weird psychotic puzzle to try to figure out how to play this crazy piece. And then I've been writing music, trying to just stay creative, to really fully realize that, we do work from home as musicians, and even if we don't have concerts, that this is what we have to do. We're conditioned as musicians kind of to spend many, many, many hours alone. But now that there's this added, we're forced to kind of self-quarantine and self-isolate, it doesn't feel good. It feels good when it's a choice. But I'm trying to know that by staying home and by not really seeing anyone, I am, doing the responsible thing for society. This is what we have to do. And I have days where I feel incredibly productive and positive and excited. And I have other days where I feel, it feels a little cooped up and it's a bit much. And then the uncertainty about what this means for all of our lives, especially as musicians, we require people to come together and gather and hear us play. And it's something that we've been doing since we're kids, and we've never encountered anything close to this. So therefore, I think it's the idea of not knowing what it's going to do to our profession, to our lives, to our loved ones. It's a sort of lack of control. Every day I get a new cancellation for a concert. Now I'm into June now. I'm not optimistic about the summer season. I'm just assuming it's probably not going to happen. I would love it to happen because I have all sorts of nice festivals to go to. But it's really putting in perspective how lucky we are to get to do what we do when we get to do it. I have an optimistic view that I think we're going to get through it stronger and make a lot of music together, and people will want to go back to concerts at some point. Maybe they'll sit further apart for a little while, maybe there'll be a seat in between everyone, I don't know. I think we're going to emerge from this gradually, but also learning a ton about our time and being socially distanced and self-isolating. And I think it's actually bringing, even though we can't really see people, I think it's in a way bringing people closer together. There was something at 7 p.m. last night, I'm practicing Hammerklavier, and I hear cheers outside my window and applause and screaming for the healthcare workers, and I joined in, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought it really made me feel that New York is an incredible city. and I know that it's hurting right now, and the healthcare workers are really struggling, and they're heroes, and they're doing amazingly. But it made me feel really excited to be here in this struggle, to not abandon New York, to be part of the community here, building new bonds and forging new paths together as people. Yeah.